Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabansi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment. We'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very serious show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Let me just get straight into it. As you guys know, Stephen A. Smith's background is starting to come into question. Why? Because as you know, he wrote his memoir, Straight Shooter, that was a New York Times bestseller. And after the book got published, Jason Whitlock, who seems to be probably arguably the best investigative journalist we have in sports media right now, at least from what I'm seeing, basically went through his entire book, scrutinized every single page. And during his research, or whatever you want to call it, he came across a piece of information that, if I'm being frank, eluded all of us. This occurred about a month or so ago. He was talking about Stephen A. Smith's college career. And as he was investigating some of the things that Stephen A. Smith wrote in his book, what he began to discover was that there were some incongruities in the story and certain things were not making sense. But because Stephen A. Smith is a fast talker, it just went over all of our heads. So what happens? He produced this hour-long show where he broke it down to basically the molecular level. And he got to a point where there was a clip on ESPN where they were essentially making fun of Stephen A. Smith's college career, and it was juxtaposed to J.J. Redick and Jalen Rose, where Stephen A. Smith essentially averaged 1.5 points per game and then came on TV and said, wait a minute, what they don't tell you is that I only played one game. And then Jason Whitlock caught a hold on that story and was like, well, how do you average 1.5 points per game while only playing one game? And if you look at the graphic, it's showing you hit like 5 threes or something like that. And he's like, wait, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. So what we want to do is we want to play the exact breakdown that Jason Whitlock did, because it's directly correlated to what Charles Barkley is reacting to. So we want to play it for you now, and then we're going to come back and get into the show. Take a listen to what Jason Whitlock had to say here.
So Stephen A. is saying that Winston-Salem State, at the end of their basketball season, when they're preparing for their conference tournament, and maybe trying to qualify for the Division II postseason tournament, that they play a game on Saturday. He wakes up the next morning, they're having a scrimmage that he arrives to late in the middle of, and Big House Gaines checks this 6'1", 150-pound guard from New York City who played a couple of months of high school basketball without acquiring any stats or anything, played a month or two of junior college basketball without acquiring any stats or anything. He shuts down a practice, checks Stephen A. Smith into the scrimmage, and then, according to Smith's account, he knocked down 17 straight shots in the scrimmage. And Big House Gaines offered him a full scholarship immediately after the practice. I'm reading this, and when I read it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is a comic book. And this man's calling this his memoir. He got a full ride scholarship after checking into a Sunday scrimmage after a team played a basketball game on Saturday, knocks down 17 straight shots, and the coach of this team, which if you go read Big House Gaines' memoir, his book, his biography, all Big House Gaines did was complain about how limited his budget was at Winston-Salem State, how the school wasn't flush with cash and a bunch of scholarships for his players. He was always trying to make ends meet. But this frail kid from New York City, he gave a full scholarship to next year's team after watching him play for an hour in a scrimmage because he allegedly knocked down 17 straight shots. Who writes this? Who believes this? I cannot appropriately do justice to the far-fetched story Stephen A. Smith paints in Straight Shooter. Smith has struggled to explain it himself on TV. in November of 2022, not that long ago, November of 2022, what is that, 14 months ago, 15 months ago? On the set of NBA Countdown with Malika Andrews, Jalen Rose, and JJ Redick, ESPN ran a graphic of Smith, Rose, and Redick's senior year stats. Let's play this clip. I don't know what is it? Yeah, slot number 4. Slot number 3. Number 3. I want to play the clip of Stephen A. Smith of Malika Andrews and JJ Redick and Jalen Rose. Here's Stephen A. Smith talking about his senior year.
We're coming off college hoops, guys.
Yeah.
So I do want to show you all a little something. I got a little something to show you here. Before we dig into the NBA, take a look at this blind resume here. It's 3 players, their scoring average in each person's final college season. Do we have any guesses who this might be? Jalen, who do you think? What is this?
Nah, this is hilarious. JJ's on the right.
It's our starting lineup from tonight.
Well, they're not telling us I only played 1 game because I cracked my kneecap in half, but that's neither here nor there.
That is neither here.
Did y'all just look and hear what Stephen A. Smith just said on national TV? They put his senior year stats up. Everybody's giggling, and you can tell Stephen A.'s pretty uncomfortable early on. He ain't in on the joke, or maybe no one warned him. I don't know. He tried to loosen up at the end. But then at the end, he says, what they're not telling y'all is I only played 1 game because I cracked my knee. And then, so look, I'm not good at math. Math is not my strength. I was a writer, and I struggle. I use both my hands and toes to count. But walk me through this and walk yourself through it. 1.5 points per game. How do you average that in 1 game? Is there a 1.5 pointer in Division II basketball? How do you do it? It can't be done. See, it can't be done. It's comical. It's an impossibility. And I know I'm not great at math, but you can't average 1.5 points a game in basketball in 1 game. So, that's November of 22.
So you heard the explanation that Jason Whitlock laid bare. So what happened? I was going to the internet just now and I came across a clip. I was actually shooting when we were done. And I came across a clip from the channel Blacktop Buckets that was published 4 hours ago. It's obviously going to be different by the time you guys see this show. And it was basically saying Charles Barkley asked how Stephen A. Smith averaged 1.5 points in 1 game on Inside the NBA. And I was like, wait, what? So I clicked on the clip to hear it, to see whether or not it was true. And as it turns out, it is true that Charles Barkley publicly questioned Stephen A. Smith's college career on live TV. So for those of you who didn't hear what Charles Barkley had to say, I want to quickly play for you now. It's only about a 50-second clip. And then I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Here are stats from Shaq, Kenny, and Chuck on games played on Leap Day. Shaq a perfect 3-0, averaging over 28 points per game.
Kenny, how the hell you average 3 points?
I got hurt every leap year.
And he shot 1 of 14 in those 2.
Pass the ball, Kenny.
I got hurt.
You're not hot.
I know you ain't talking Mr. 14.5.
Kenny would be on fire if he got to 14.
There has to be something more to that.
No, that is not. What's more than that?
Dude, I've never averaged 3 points.
You just did.
I didn't average 3 points when I was in the crib and put me in 17 and under league.
Hey, you know what those are? SBS.
No.
Skip Bayless stats.
No. Hey, Shaq.
Man averaged 3 points.
Hey, Shaq. You saw the Pelicans was killing Stephen A., right?
Yeah.
Hey, Stephen A., we love you. I'm trying to figure out how you average 1.5 points. Like, don't you get...
So you heard what Charles Barkley had to say. Here's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that. The first thing that came to my mind is this, that these big guys that we see out there, they watch a lot of content creators. They watch a lot of people on YouTube. Now, some people say, but you know it's not true. Here are the bloody facts about the situation. YouTube is the #1 video platform in the world. More people watch YouTube than they do TV. So if you're known on YouTube, you're pretty much known. And if you follow NBA sports content and you watch long form content, chances are they're watching a lot of these shows. Chances are, if you go into our analytics, the people that watch our show, watch Club Shay Shay, watch Nightcap, watch Stephen A. Smith show, watch Gil's Arena, exact same audience. So they all watch each other. So that's the first thing. The second thing, Charles Barkley was laughing, but it's not a laughing matter. Stephen A. Smith, in response to what was said about the 1.5, he then went out there and said, the truth of the matter is I didn't play any games. How can you go out there and say on the Stephen A. Smith show you didn't play any games, but then go on live TV and say I played one game? Which one is it? What's going on here? And Charles Barkley is asking the pertinent question that a lot of us are trying to figure out. How the hell do you average 1.5 points in one game? Or how do you average 1.5 points in 0 games? So if it's 0 games, where did that statistic come from? Where did it come from? If it's 1.5 games, how did you do that in one game? Nobody knows. It's like looking for the Bigfoot. Nobody knows. No, we can't figure it out. We just can't figure it out. Nobody knows. What's true? What's not? Now, Charles Barkley was laughing, but it's like, bro, that's what we've all been thinking, right? Like, where did that information come from? Nobody knows. But to hear a person like Charles Barkley laughing about it, I should tell you, the latest one, people are now questioning the Run DMC story. I don't even know what the hell is going on, but that's what I think. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think about what Charles Barkley had to say? And what do you think about that 1.5 points? Where did it come from? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments and we catch you on the next show.